Humans offered a ceasefire. Year 11, Month 3, Day 7 of the Border Wars. Ambassador Chun Wei reviewed the ceasefire proposal one final time before authorizing transmission. Simple, clear, strategic. Broadcasting now. Communications Director Park confirmed. The message reached 17 species simultaneously. Every coalition member, every government fighting humanity. Chun waited. Earth Strategic Command had modeled responses. Expected rejections from 12 to 15 species. Hope for acceptances from 2 to 5. The key was offering terms individually rather than collectively. Fracture coalition unity. Create competition. Make species choose between solidarity and survival. First response incoming. Park announced. Valkyrian Empire. Chun read it. Rejection. Expected. Zyphery collective responding. Rejection. Also expected. Responses continued. Rejection after rejection. Species maintaining coalition unity. 15 rejections in the first 12 hours. Then, hour 17, Miran Commonwealth responding. Chun opened the message. Read it carefully. Smiled. They accepted. The Miran decision. Chancellor Miran of the Miran Commonwealth had spent 3 sleepless nights debating the decision. Her advisors were divided. Accepting breaks coalition unity, Foreign Minister Tekvar argued. The others will view us as traitors. We'll be isolated. We're already isolated, General Corvan countered. When did coalition partners last respond to reinforcement requests? They use us as buffer territory. Expendable. Miran studied casualty reports. 11 years of war. The Miran military, never large, was depleted. Industrial capacity strained. Civilian populations war-weary. If we continue fighting, she asked, how long can we last? 6 months, Corvan said. Possibly less. One major engagement, and we're defenseless. And if we accept human terms? Silence. Unknown, Tekvar admitted. Humans might honor the ceasefire, or it might be a trap. We'd be trusting species we've fought for 11 years. Miran made the hardest calculation leaders face. Risk certain destruction or uncertain survival. She chose survival. Human arrival. Day 1 after acceptance. Human ships entered Miran space. Not warships. Construction vessels. Civilian contractors. Engineering teams. They arrived at Miran Border Station Delta 7. A defensive platform damaged in recent fighting, operating at 34% capacity. Construction vessel builders Hope requesting docking permission. The human captain transmitted. Miran Station Commander Velcor had expected delays. Negotiations. Diplomacy. Instead, permission granted, he replied. Within hours, human engineering teams swarmed the damaged sections. They worked with efficiency that startled Miran observers. No wasted motion. No bureaucratic delays. Just skilled people fixing problems. They're not asking for payment, Velcor reported to command. They're just working. Confirmed, Chancellor Miran replied. The ceasefire terms included mutual defense cooperation. They're implementing immediately. By end of day 1, Delta 7 was operating at 78% capacity. By day 3, 95%. By week's end, 112%. Better than original specifications because human engineers upgraded systems while repairing. Similar scenes played out across Miran space. Damaged platforms repaired. Vulnerable installations fortified. Defensive networks upgraded. Medical frigates arrived, carrying supplies and personnel. Miran wounded received treatment using human medical technology, decades ahead of Miran capabilities. Casualty recovery rates improved dramatically. Supply transports delivered industrial equipment, raw materials, energy systems, everything Miran needed to rebuild their economy. They're not just offering peace, General Corvan observed. They're building an ally. Miran nodded, and making us strong enough that breaking the ceasefire would be costly for anyone. Coalition reaction. The Valkyrian Empire watched Miran developments with growing alarm. Humans are fortifying Miran borders, intelligence reported. Installing advanced defensive weapons. Training their forces. Providing strategic intelligence. Miran betrayed the coalition, Admiral Court stated. We make an example. Punish them for accepting human terms. Valkyrian High Command agreed. Sent a battle group. Demonstrate the cost of defection. Remind other coalition members that unity was mandatory. Battle Group Vengeance. 12 warships, 3,000 soldiers. Entered Miran space, prepared for easy victory. They encountered defenses they hadn't expected. Miran stations, recently fortified with human technology, engaged at ranges previously impossible. Human-supplied defensive weapons created overlapping fields of fire. Human-trained Miran crews anticipated Valkyrian tactics. These defenses weren't here last month. Commander Esikaval reported from the flagship. Miran couldn't have installed this alone. Human assistance, his tactical officer replied. The fortifications match human defensive doctrine. The battle group pressed forward, took casualties. Miran defenses held. Then human advisors actively participated, not officially. They wore Miran uniforms, operated Miran systems, but their tactics were unmistakably human. Battle Group Vengeance withdrew after losing 4 ships. We failed, Court reported to High Command. Miran defenses are too strong. Further attacks would require full invasion fleet. For 3 minor worlds? High Command asked. Silence. The math didn't work. Conquering Miran would cost more than Miran was worth. Especially now, with human backing making them fortress worlds. What about the other coalition members? High Command asked. Collapse. Month 6 after initial human broadcast, the coalition collapsed. Not through dramatic battle, through quiet calculation. Species did the math, continue fighting with decreasing support, or accept ceasefire terms that came with tangible benefits. The Kreth Republic accepted. The Dorian clans accepted. The Velshera Unity accepted. Each acceptance weakened the coalition further. Each defection made continued warfare less sustainable. Within 8 months of the original broadcast, only 3 species continued fighting. Valkyria, Zyphery, and Korvathi. All 3 had rejected the initial offer. All 3 had called it weakness. Now they faced the consequences. Their supply lines, compromised by former allies who no longer cooperated. Their strategic positions, weakened by fortified neighbors. Their military capabilities, strained by years of warfare without the coalition support structure. We've lost, Admiral Court admitted in private session. Not militarily, strategically. Humans turned our allies against us without firing a shot. Then we negotiate, Valkyrian High Command asked. We beg, Court corrected, because we rejected the generous terms. Now we negotiate from weakness. The Valkyrian Empire contacted Humanity, requesting ceasefire discussions. Ambassador Chin's response was professional but pointed. The original terms remain available. However, priority consideration for mutual defense cooperation has been extended to early acceptors. Late respondents receive standard diplomatic recognition only. Translation: you can have peace, but you won't get the benefits early acceptors received. You chose to fight longer. That choice has consequences. Valkyria accepted. So did Zyphery. So did Korvathi. The war ended. The aftermath. 5 years after the ceasefire broadcast, Ambassador Chun attended a diplomatic reception on Miran Prime. The world had transformed. Human assistance had rebuilt infrastructure. Trade with Earth had enriched the economy. Miran defensive capabilities rivaled major powers. Chancellor Miran, now in her 2nd term, approached Chun. Ambassador, thank you for attending. Thank you for the invitation, Chancellor. Miran has prospered because of your assistance. The ceasefire terms were generous. Chun smiled. Strategically necessary. We needed allies. Miran was wise enough to accept when offered. Others called us traitors for accepting. Others now wish they'd accepted first. Chun gestured at the reception hall. I see representatives from 7 former coalition species here. All now trading partners. All benefiting from peace. Miran nodded. The species that rejected your initial offer, they received less favorable terms. They received identical ceasefire terms. Chun corrected. Mutual recognition of borders. Non-aggression pacts. Trade normalization. What they didn't receive was priority assistance. First responders got our help rebuilding. Late acceptors had to rebuild themselves. A lesson. A consequence. Choices have costs. They chose to fight longer. We couldn't reward that equally with species who chose peace earlier. Miran sipped her drink. It was masterful strategy. Offering terms individually created competition. making benefits time-sensitive incentivized early acceptance. Fortifying early acceptors made continued warfare unsustainable for others. War is politics by other means, Chen quoted. Sometimes the best warfare is politics. You fractured the coalition without fighting. We offered peace and let them choose. Some chose wisely. Some chose late. All eventually chose correctly. Chen looked around the reception. At former enemies, now trading partners. At species rebuilding rather than fighting. Humanity doesn't want war, Chancellor. We're quite good at it when necessary. But we prefer cooperation. The ceasefire offer was genuine. We would have honored terms with anyone who accepted. But you made sure acceptance came with benefits. Of course, peace must be more attractive than war. Otherwise, why would anyone choose it? Miran smiled. And species who rejected you learned what fighting alone feels like. They learned that allies matter. That isolation is expensive. That humanity values partnership and punishes intransigence, not through violence, but through absence of support. Chen finished his drink. The species that accepted early, like Miran, prospered because we helped them. The species that rejected learned that refusing help has consequences. No punishment required, just natural results of their choices. Elegant, Miran said. Effective, Chen replied. And 5 years later, 17 species that once fought us are now trading partners. Some received more help than others, but all received peace. That was always the goal. He nodded respectfully. Humanity doesn't hold grudges, Chancellor. We remember choices. Early acceptors proved wisdom. Late acceptors proved stubbornness. Both received peace. Only the benefits differed, and future conflicts will be resolved remembering this lesson. Humanity rewards cooperation and makes opposition expensive, not through violence, through economic advantage, through selective assistance, through choosing allies carefully and supporting them generously. Chen smiled. We offered ceasefire to everyone, but we only built partnerships with those wise enough to accept when offered. That difference between peace and partnership is something the galaxy is still learning. End of episode 7. Next episode, they finally invaded Earth and found the trap.